News at Noon begins now.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for being with us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. I'm Laura Papetti, and we're going to go live right now to the area. I believe this is in Coeur d'Alene, where the procession has just wrapped up for the firefighters killed in an ambush on Canfield Mountain on Sunday. The procession traveled from Spokane at the county examiner's office to this very funeral home in Coeur d'Alene, where Brandon T. Jones has been on scene all morning long. Brandon, it was an emotional couple of hours, and that procession is just wrapping up right now as we're talking.
Laura, you can hear probably the bagpipes that are slowly and quietly playing here behind me at the English Funeral Chapel. Individuals with their hands over their hearts, saluting these fallen heroes, trying to find the words to kind of describe what we just witnessed here and what's actively taking place, but it is quite difficult. Dozens, hundreds of people line the streets, the sidewalks, coming out here to pay their respects to these two individuals, John Morrison and Frank Harwood. Heroes, again, who lost their lives just trying to protect their community before they were ambushed by a gunman. But again, dozens, hundreds of people out here, complete silence. The only sounds you hear are coming from the motorcycles, the vehicles that are pulling in, the fire trucks. Outside of that, complete silence, not a peep. You can't hear anything. Goosebumps on every single individual out here right now. A lot of emotion flowing as people just try to make sense of an unnecessary tragedy. Again, you think about these two individuals who are described as dedicated men by the colleagues closest to them. They've been working out here for decades. They've been serving this community for decades. They have been protecting this community for decades. So as we think about that, I want us to all keep their families, their coworkers, their colleagues, their friends. If we can try and just keep all of them in their hands, in our prayers, in our thoughts, because it is going to be difficult. Laura, we talked about how grief doesn't have a timeline. It's going to be challenging. It's been a challenging few days. It's been an emotional few days here in Coeur d'Alene, across the inland Northwest, especially here in North Idaho. But seeing the community come together, see all of these individuals come out here to pay their respects, it truly is something that is heartwarming. It's touching. And again, all you can think about is just all of these people, especially the families impacted from these two men. These two men who spent countless years serving this community, being together. I keep going back to this story with one of the first women who came out here. This was about 2 hours ago, around 9:30 maybe. And she described those moments, and she could barely get some of those sentences out. She talked about why it was important for her to come out here today, because just a few years ago, she had a fire. She was alone in her house, her and her dogs, asleep. And a fire burns in the basement. She had no clue. There wasn't a smell. There was no sign of a fire. Power was still on in the house. But fire crews from Coeur d'Alene Fire Department came out. They helped save her, moved her safely from the home. And these are the type of individuals we're talking about over here. People who, again, are the salt of the earth. Those who walk among us, put themselves on the front lines to keep us safe. It's a tragedy that we have to do this here today. They'll be here, but it's important that we honor their lives, and that we pay our respects to these individuals. And again, so many people out here, besides my voice, who's making these noises right now. A lot of silence and a lot of emotions flowing, a lot of people trying to process how they're feeling and making sense of this tragedy. As we walk a little bit closer, you can see all of these first responders up here, and you try to put yourself in their shoes and imagine what they're feeling. We saw them in the early moments when they were first out here, setting up some of these trucks, getting prepared for this moment right here. If we can just listen to some of the bagpipes and watch families, young children, grandparents, out here paying their respects.
Brandon, thank you so much. Brandon, as he said, has been out there throughout the morning with members of the community as they gathered to pay their respects to the procession. The procession making its way from Spokane to right here to a funeral home in Coeur d'Alene, where you see people quietly standing, being together, and honoring those who were killed on Canfield Mountain. We're just pausing there a moment. As Brendan said, you can hear the bagpipes playing. I do want to point out that so many people came out from Spokane all the way through to Coeur d'Alene to spend their morning on the side of the road in an overpass, bringing flags and signs. Again, trying to pay their respects to firefighters who died, and we'll be hearing from some of them today.
I'm still very shocked and very sad. When you sign up to be a firefighter or to work in EMS, you don't expect to be involved in incidents like this. Firefighters don't go into an area looking for things like an ambush or anything of that to occur. So it's very shocking. I hate to see that this happened in our community and somewhere so close to our community, and to know that there's that hatred in the world is really upsetting. For me, it was really important to show that the community is here to support, especially the families.
The procession where it is just wrapped up at the funeral home in Coeur d'Alene, and this is a live look at folks who are standing by, many of them, as you see there, holding flags, standing at attention. We've seen people from different agencies saluting. The procession traveled, leaving Spokane, the Spokane County Medical Examiner's Office, down the freeway, where people stood on overpasses and exits and did what they could to take a few moments to pay their respects to the men killed. Obviously, we've lost that shot, but back here in the studio, I am joined now with Christian Garza, who was at one of those points. You were at the very beginning at the Spokane Medical Examiner's Office for hours, and you talked about this morning, people gathering and what that was like, and you used the word, I thought it was, it described it so well. It was heavy.
It was a very, very heavy scene. We had gotten there at about, I would say, closer to 9 o'clock, and it had given the 10 o'clock start time, excuse me. It didn't start for another 30 to 45 minutes. But as I started getting there was just so many people, community members, law enforcement, first responders, all different people from all different backgrounds coming together for one purpose, and that purpose was to uplift the community together. It was very heavy. There was a lot of tears. There was a lot of hugging, a lot of different emotions kind of going on as people said goodbye to their friends and loved ones, and it was just a scene that, like Brandon had said just a little bit ago, is an unnecessary tragedy.
Yeah. We do want to say thank you to everyone. Yesterday, the fire agencies asked people if they would like to come out and safely find a place along the route to do so, and people certainly did and made that choice to spend their time paying their respects. We're looking again live, Christian. This is where the procession ended in Coeur d'Alene. And I think to your point, there's a collective grief that's going on right now. And this is a way not only to pay their respects, but to be with other people who are feeling the same thing at this point in time. So again, this is a look at the chapel, the funeral home in Coeur d'Alene. And we've seen crews coming through as they brought the procession in, the hearse followed in, and then they've sort of closed that area off now as trucks and emergency vehicles have gone the other way. So There's so much to this story, but today was about honoring the two men.
Yes, honoring the two men and community as well, showing up for each other.
Yeah. You know, we get to see sometimes the greatest acts of, and sometimes they're just small acts, but they're acts of kindness in this time when there is a crisis or, again, that collective grief. And today we saw different people handing out water to those who had been standing in the sun. And we saw people helping each other, like you said, holding hands, hugging. We saw people shoulder to shoulder on overpasses. And you see in that woman's face how heartbreaking this is for people. Confused by what happened, angered by what happened.
And it's not just communities here in the Northwest, it's national. And it's to some people that I talk to who are out there standing, holding flags and being there for the communities, international even as well. They have family from across the pond saying how sad they are for our area. So it's something that the world is kind of feeling as well.
All right, and we're just, again, this is wrapping up the procession for the firefighters killed in an ambush on Canfield Mountain on Sunday. If you are just joining us, in the last minute or two, we followed the procession from where you were, Christian, at the Spokane County Medical Examiner's office. And they had dozens, and I can't really even give it a strong number because there were so many of emergency vehicles.
Vehicles and aircraft. There was a bunch of helicopters in the air as well. So many different people, like I said, of different backgrounds coming together for today.
Yeah. And these are the last moments of that procession as they will wrap things up here again at the funeral home in Coeur d'Alene. As people are standing by, though, as bagpipes are playing. And again, as you said, we heard throughout the whole hour or two of coverage that we've been on, the helicopters overhead, the immense number of vehicles, and now fairly quiet except for that music playing in the background.
Right, exactly. And it's very similar. That's exactly how it started. It started how it ended, with community showing up and being together and supporting each other and uplifting them and their neighbors and brothers and sisters and family during this time.
We do have a lot of information if you would like to support the families. This came from the fire agencies on how to give, and we have posted that on KREM.com. They are asking that people stick to the recommended donors spots, because they want to make sure the money is used as people intend it to be used. So we have that posted on KREM.com, and we have lots more still ahead. But we're going to just take a quick break right now. Thanks for being with us here on KREM 2 News at Noon. We will be right back.